Welcome to Open Hand Farm, and welcome to the third installment video of little snippets that I took at the Country Tough Homesteading Expo. I loved listening to Tiffany. She will be teaching us about herbal medicine and just like a little step inside making tinctures and oils and salves. I hope you enjoy her as much as I did. Her name is Tiffany Butters, and her farm is called Reeds and Rushes Farm. So sit back, relax, and enjoy Tiffany.
So we're going to go over 3 different varieties of herbs, and a lot of them are cross-categorical in the different ways that they help. So the first one I want to look at is immunostimulants. This would be any time that you're like, I'm needing my immune system to kick butt right now. Okay, that's what you're wanting. So if my husband comes home and says, oh, I just rode in the truck all day with a guy that has the flu, I'm like, okay, well, these are what we're going to implement. All right, then next we will go to immunomodulators, and those are things that are going to be like a tonic, things that you can take continually all the time to consistently keep your immune system top shelf. And next it's going to be antimicrobials, which is interesting. Like, yes, it's to fight something, but our immune system is consistently fighting whatever we're coming in contact with. Okay, I also have a few tips on the bottom for ways that we can help strengthen our immune system. We actually have family members that will come to me and be like, oh, you know, my nephew has a runny nose again and a cough. What can you give him to make it go away? And I'm like, well, as soon as he eats anything that resembles a whole food, we'll have that conversation, okay? Herbs are not a miracle pill. They do sell those at pharmacies, and oftentimes we sign away our future health in order to reap the benefits of those. We are not a family that doesn't participate in Western medicine. Obviously, sometimes we need medication and we need doctors, but this is a way for you to very tangibly be aware of your body and aware of the plants that can help you. It's as simple as that. Also, I'm not a doctor, and most herbalists aren't. Okay, so our immunostimulants, we are literally stimulating our white blood cells to begin working with whatever pathogen it's come in contact with, okay? So I have a list of some of my favorites. A lot of our immune system herbs, think culinary, petitioning the FDA to prescribe garlic for autoimmune conditions and heart conditions. And after 4 years of going to court and battling, the FDA finally decided that garlic is never something that they will allow to be prescribed for a medical condition. How sad. These were medical physicians. These were way smarter than we are. Concerning to me, we really have to watch out for AI resources right now. No human actually created these books. So the way that you can watch out for that is like the catchy titles like 1 through 5 medicinal practices or things like that. Look at the author. If you Google them and you can't find them, they're not real. And so I just registered myself in an herbal school and started taking their courses. For me, I was able to trust people that were so much smarter than me. And isn't that what homesteading is? None of us learned it on our own. We watched YouTube videos, or we bought every book that Joel Salatin ever produced, and we've read it 3 times and still mess up, right? And that's all the herbal medicine is too, is just finding someone smarter than you that you can learn from in a safe manner to take control of your health. It is so sad to me that the resource of plant medicine has been hidden from us for a century, right? And so the greatest example that I have is willow bark. Willow bark is a pain management tool. It's literally the bark from a willow, and it is what they modeled the medicine Aleve from. Okay, so they literally took everything about willow bark and said, how can we create it in a lab? And that's what we're going to sell people. That should be enough for us to say, I maybe actually could be smart enough to help my health myself. Okay, Uncia is one of my favorites. It looks like an urchin. I don't know. It's kind of creepy looking. I gave my dad a jar of it because he just had like bronchial stuff again, and he was like, I'm not taking that. But Uncia is what they modeled Mucinex after. Okay, so they took the fundamental properties of this, figured out how to make it in a lab, and they sell you Mucinex. Uncia has virtually no side effects. You could drink it in a tea, it's disgusting. So we make a tincture, but. All right, welcome. My name is Tiffany, if I did not meet you yesterday. Thank you for having me speak today. This is Intro to Herbal Medicine. So if you guys already dabble in herbal medicine, there may be some things that you're like, oh, that's child's play, but I like to start at a level basis so we don't miss. Anyway, all right. First of all, herbal medicine is not a miracle pill. Our healthcare industry has kind of marketed us on this idea that we can live and make choices however we want, and then take something in order to make it all go away. And that's just not reality. It's not reality with them either. They just market it better, right? So herbal medicine is the idea that we consistently build upon that health to get optimal results. And then there obviously are herbs and plants that we can take that do kind of pack a punch and create a result in us. So I do want to just very briefly discuss safety. Personal interactions. I gave the example yesterday. Everyone loves bell peppers. I'm allergic. So while the rest of the world has the benefits of bell peppers, I don't. Plant medicine is the same way. Just like at a doctor's office, you would want to go through your reactions to a specific medicine. Only introduce a few things at a time, or even one at a time, instead of just jumping in and taking it all in and then having no idea why your body's reacting in a certain way. The next thing is there are a lot of self-taught, proclaimed herbal medicine teachers. And really, in anything, no one is self-taught. Like, we have all watched YouTube videos or read books or taken courses, or we just talk to people smarter than us. So just like one of the largest medicinal families would be the carrot family, also one of the largest amounts of toxic plants, okay? So just be careful who you're getting your information from, and vet it. Vet what I say. Take the herbs that I have and look it up yourself, okay? The whole point of plant medicine is owning your own health. So own it in every possible way, not just free from Western medicine specifically, which I'll say disclaimer, our family still uses when we need it, okay? We just like to use plant medicine in order to help, and that's predominantly what we use, but we're not against it. If you look at the handout, the middle column is resources. These books are not personally vetted by me. They're vetted by people smarter than me, okay? And they're vetted by dozens that say, this is quality, this is trustworthy. I brought one of them. This is actually the owner of the school that I went through. She came out with this book because not everyone is wanting to jump into a 2-year course on herbal medicine making, okay? So she came out with this beautiful book with recipes and tips and things like that. I bought this on Amazon just to show people what a decent resource looks like. Types of herbal medicine. We have tinctures, teas, and decoctions. A decoction is essentially a tea. It's just more of a root, and you're boiling it to get that value out instead of just letting it sit in water that has been boiled. There are honeys and syrups, herbal vinegars, cooking with fresh herbs, infused oils and salves, compresses and poultices, aromatherapy, body butter, and body salts. All of these, many of them are topical, which I'm not going to focus on today, but you can use herbs in a plethora of ways in order to help your health. Today we're going to focus on tinctures. Every ingestible herbal medicine, you need a solvent. Okay, so if you've made tea, you've used a solvent to extract properties. Okay, alcohol is the predominant way that I make a tincture. Tinctures can be made with alcohol or vegetable glycerin. I personally, and I actually don't know of another single herbalist that uses vegetable glycerin for personal use, okay? If you are avoiding alcohol for religious reasons, or maybe you had an unhealthy relationship with alcohol in the past, I did make a vegetable glycerin tincture for a friend that she's like 60 now, and she was like, if I take that home, I'll drink the whole thing, okay? And so obviously the benefit to her is to use vegetable glycerin. I trust giving this to my family and my kids more than something created in a lab that we're not even sure what that looks like, okay? So I don't ever make tinctures out of vegetable glycerin personally. If you do want to avoid the alcohol content, you can take a dropper of tincture and just drop it in a little bit of boiling water and then drink that water. That steam is going to release a lot of that alcohol content, but it is such a fractional amount that you're taking with the tincture that it doesn't concern me for me or my children, but you do you, and that's the benefit of owning your own health, is you make your own decisions. So whatever you are comfortable with. So for a tincture, we're going to be making Uncia today. I talked about it yesterday. This is what they marketed Mucinex after. So they took Uncia, they broke it down on a molecular level in a lab, put it back together, and created Mucinex. So this actually helps your lungs, the liquid and fluid in them, not bind to the wall of the lung, okay? So it will help you cough up that moisture. But he did just try and see it for the first time ever since he had COVID a few years ago. Any cold that he gets, he really struggles in his lungs, and they found the value in that. So oftentimes people like to make tinctures like a 4-to-1 ratio, maybe a 2-to-1. I use what is literally called the folklore method, and I just shove it in there, okay? I don't measure it. I also, for me in general, and any herb that I've recommended to you is not a very crazy dosage. Like, you don't have to watch it super close, okay? So anything that I've recommended is not gonna be like, oh, I took 1 drop too many, anything like that. And that's why I do the folklore method. For me personally, it just works. I only make tinctures out of dried herbs for me. Anytime you're adding moisture content to a honey or an alcohol or a vinegar, you're diluting how long that's going to last. Tinctures can last decades. I don't need mine to last that long, okay? I'm going to make it and I'm going to use it. So a lot of people will say, I want a 90% alcohol. Do you know how hard that is to find? Like, and how expensive it is to buy clean, okay? So I make mine, and perfectly, this is 40% alcohol. It's gonna last minimum 8 to 10 years. That's really plenty for me. That's all I'm needing. I'm not building, you know, World War III storehouse in my basement. Maybe if you want to, you go with the 90%. But, so I just make sure it's covered. Okay, so congratulations, you've made a tincture. Literally, that's how easy it is, okay? This is so spread out, this herb itself. It's not like flat leaves that have sat in there. I just make sure that it's covered, and there's really medicinal properties within 2 or 3 days. Minimum 4 to 6 weeks is what you want your tincture sitting. So I just put mine in. I use mason jars for pretty much everything. I write the date in an Expo marker. A lot of herbalists, it's like a sin to mix herbs in their tincture. I do it, okay? It works for me. Whenever I say I make my immune builder and my immune tonic, oftentimes I put them all in there and make one tincture together. But again, I'm not using the herbs that the dosage is real finicky, okay? I don't care how much elderberry is in my tincture. Too much isn't going to hurt me. So you're gonna let this sit for 4 to 6 weeks minimum. Longer, totally fine, not a big deal. And then you're just going to strain it into an amber bottle. That is one thing that I will say I never fudge on. Amber bottles every time, because the sunlight can impact. Mine aren't sitting out, but it's a pretty basic rule to always use a dark colored bottle. You're just, after those weeks, you're just gonna strain it into here and then label it. You don't have to have labels. You can write on it with a Sharpie, whatever works for you. The big mistake that I made is I made a big batch of everything, put it into jars, and I put the dropper in. And for some reason, my tinctures long-term are not doing as well with the dropper stored inside of it, okay? It's like occasionally the dropper is getting mold in the top and I'm having to throw the whole thing away. So I would now recommend that storing it, you use this, and then when you're ready to get a new tincture out, put your dropper in and use it till it's gone. And a salve, what you're gonna do, this is actually a diaper oil I'm making for my friend. And so you'll see I have different herbs, I know, sin, but I have different herbs in this oil. You cover it just like a tincture, let it sit the same amount of time, and then you're gonna strain it out, and then you're just going to add, I use beeswax. We have a friend who has bees, doesn't use the wax ever, gives it to me, so it's free and easy to do. And you just slowly thicken that until you get the consistency that you want. The great thing about herbal oils is you can rush them. You can heat them and you can get it finished in a day. But do not have your heat too high or you're going to have deep fried herbs. Herbal vinegars are made the same way. Put your herb in, cover it in vinegar. That's the basis behind fire cider. If you've ever made fire cider, you've made it herbal vinegar. I used nettles in vinegar for a long time in order to, we were vegan for a little while there. We raise meat now, so we've actually done carnivore more recently, but we were vegan and we were very concerned about the minerals that our kids were getting. And so I put nettles in vinegar and they were drinking it straight, which was so wonderful until I went to the dentist and the dentist is like, what is happening to your kids' teeth? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And the vinegar was eating the enamel off of their teeth. Whoopsies. Teas do work very effectively. I love a good sleepy time tea, but oftentimes I want that at 9 p.m. So then at 11, I'm gonna get up and have to go to the bathroom. And then at 11:30, I'm gonna have to go again, okay? So teas have their trade-off. There's nothing better than sitting with a cup of tea on the porch while it rains, okay? But you don't want it all the time. So that's where those tinctures come in. Also, I give my kids a lot of herbs. They are not drinking that tea. It's not gonna happen. I will threaten their life and that liquid will still be in the cup at the end of the conversation, okay? But to make an herbal tea, obviously you know how to make tea. If it is not covered, you are getting far less of the medicinal properties. You want that steam to stay in there. Those medicinal properties are coming up in that steam. So when we have our cup of tea and it's just going, we're not getting the optimal benefit of that. So oftentimes just take a plate, stick it upside down on your cup, just anything to keep it in there for about 20 minutes if you're really wanting the medicinal values out of that. I buy most of mine from Mountain Rose. I'm also loyal to a fault, so if I find a company and they've done me well and they give me discounts, that's where I'm going, okay? Yes, I do grow some, and most of them are culinary. I have 3 children that run wild outside, and we have 26 chickens that run wild outside, and the sheep won't stay in the pen, so they run wild outside. So growing herbs is very enraging to me because everything kills them. So I grow lots of culinary because things leave them alone. Chickens don't like culinary herbs, so those are in all of my potted plants and things like that. But a lot of times it's just not worth my time and space. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh my goodness. I hope you enjoyed her as much as I did. And I have to tell you, if you ever have a chance to attend one of her classes, do it. I had to cut a lot out because the video would have been so long. So you missed out on some of her humorous adventures, learning about herbal remedies. And that's why she encourages us as beginners to use herbs that don't really have any side effects, or they are culinary herbs that do wonderful things, until you can get some good quality books or take some classes yourself. So thank you so much for coming along. And if you're new here, welcome. We are so glad to have you. My name is Penny, and we have a small 1.5 acre farm, and we try to show you how we manage on our farm in our videos. So come and visit again. And for those of you who have subscribed, push that notification bell so that you know when we have another video up. And until next time, blessings on you and yours.